wish I could say nice to know you, hard to show you anything. You were the knife in my throat, rock in my shoe, thorn in my pride. The battles on the road never change, I know now, 'cause I have been here before. You watching the lights move with the sound turned down, feeling the night turn me around.
Non-stop rock talk with Tyson Friday. Hey Brandon, welcome to Non-Stop Rock Talk. It's really a pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm very happy to be here. I'm running a real busy business over on this end of this end of the country, and I'm just having a blast making music.
That is awesome. So tell me, we'll get into a bunch of stuff of, like Black and Blue and whatnot, but tell me a little bit what you've been up to musically as of late. I understand you have quite a bit on the go musically. Of course, you do Black and Blue. There's a Guns N' Roses tribute and Loyal Order.
Yeah. My primary means of income and one of the things I focus on the most is my guitar lessons. I teach lessons to basically all ages and all skill levels, but mostly I've been finding some higher level guitar players and working on a lot of heavy jazz chords and people who are sort of doing college prep type lessons, so they're getting ready to go into a music program of some sort, either high school or college, and they need extra help. I have a music degree, and I've been playing guitar for over 30 years, so I went to music school when I was in my teens and 20s, and I just have a lot to offer a higher end guitar student. So that's been one of my main focuses, working on people who are kind of taking it to the high level. But I also work with brand spanking new beginners of all ages, and I just love that too. Teaching somebody how to play a C chord can be just as fun as a C sharp diminished add 9 thingy. I use halfway real theory terms there, but I really I just like doing it all because people of all ages and all skill levels love music, and they have different variety of reasons for learning music. Some people just want to sit in their living room and strum a chord, and that makes them feel peaceful. And other people want to be on stage in front of millions of people, and that's what they want to do. And I'm happy to teach anybody get where they want to go. So
that's fantastic. I actually taught guitar for a little bit, and
awesome.
Yeah, and I always loved it when a kid would come in and right off the beginning, you get excited because you're you can tell this kid has that, whatever you call it, that instinct to play guitar. So you know what I mean? So you get those kids and you're just it just really pumps you up because you're you want to teach them everything that because that they may be able to do it, right?
Oh yeah, and that kid gets a fire hose of information sometimes.
That's
just
right.
Oh, you like that? It's great. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, and I remember this one kid I had, and he came to me and he was big into Megadeth and stuff like that. So we started learning stuff off of Rest in Peace, this Marty Friedman stuff, and he wanted to learn Joe Satriani, and it was just that really, for my playing wise as well, because I was doing that and I had to learn all this stuff to teach him. It just, my playing just I was so in the zone, right? Because I'm learning all this stuff, and not stuff that I would normally because I have so much other stuff on the go, but not normally stuff I would sit down and listen to and learn. So that was pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah,
that is really cool. I have a story about Megadeth. The very first song I ever learned was "Wake Up Dead" by Megadeth.
Cool.
And for years I off and on I played that song, and my buddy Tyson, not you Tyson, Tyson Leslie from Vixen, he set me and another guy, his name's Dakota Denman, up with playing with Dirk and David Ellefson on the Mega Cruise this last October.
Wow.
And so me and Dakota and Tyson, we got to play with Megadeth, half of Megadeth. It was so rad.
That is too cool, man. That would be awesome.
It was like the very first song I ever learned, and I got to play it with the guys, you know?
That would be cool. I mean, for me as well, that would be like such an honor. And I've always wanted to, as a guitar player, it's like I always wanted that opportunity, and it's never happened where I got to play with one of like somebody that I grew up listening to.
Oh yeah.
And so I can totally relate to that. That is so cool.
Yeah, you can. I mean, the way that I've just kind of got to be able to do that is just work with, and mostly it's because of Black and Blue. You know, that has afforded me some amazing opportunities. You know, thanks Jamie and Pete and Pat.
Yes,
appreciate it. They really hooked me up with some really amazing things. So I'm very grateful for that.
That is awesome. So, and you know what's funny, talking about Black and Blue, and I'm going to ask you about your history about like how you got into Black and Blue, but I do want to mention this. So yesterday somebody posted on Facebook that it was the 36th anniversary yesterday of the debut album.
That's right.
Right, and I was just like, oh, that's cool. So anyways, my house got robbed back in September, and like I lost a couple and I lost like 4 guitars, and I lost like 200 albums. What's that?
I remember that. I remember you posting about that.
Yeah. So anyway, to enlighten the story a little bit though, so I've been like replacing a ton of vinyls. I lost the first Black and Blue, and I lost In Heat, but they didn't take Without Love and Nasty Nasty because they're in a different spot. It was really kind of bizarre. But anyway, so I've been replacing the albums, and I went on Discogs and I bought a new copy of the first Black and Blue, and I get it. It comes in the mail, and it's not even opened.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like, wow. But I opened it. I did, because I take care of my albums, and like I'm really anal about it. But it's like I have to open this because I have to hear it. So it was pretty awesome to have this 36-year-old album, brand new, to play like right out of the package. That was just so cool.
So was it new old stock, or was it like an actual brand new printing?
No, it was old stock. I mean, I think it's on Geffen. I think somebody had it in their collection and probably just never, maybe they weren't into the band, so they never opened it. I have no idea. But when I got it and I pulled it out of the box, I was just like, this is too cool. So,
that is cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I had a story about that too, man. I went to LA, when I went to go do the Mega Cruise, and I was with a friend, and we were talking about records, and I was like, I just was like, yeah, Black and Blue's new record, or Black and Blue's record would be like right here. And I reached over and I pulled the bees open, and the very first record I see was the first Black and Blue records. Jamie St. James staring at me, and I'm just like, oh, hey, that's my band.
That is so cool. That is awesome.
It's really weird.
Oh man, it's just and it's funny because that In Heat album that I lost. Remember at when I met you initially at Rock and Skull, and we were backstage, and I got Jamie and Patrick to sign it, and I was like, "You got to sign this for me, man," and you did, but I lost it. It's gone, and I don't think.
Bummer, man. I'm so sorry. That really sucks, dude.
You know what? Everything is working out, and a lot of the stuff I'm replacing, I'm able to find better copies, and because some of the stuff I'd had for a long time since I was probably like a teenager, so like I've been really particular about replacing it and going on Discogs and finding like the right ones. So there's a silver lining in the whole story at the end. As for guitars, I had a Strat, but I replaced it with the Adrian Smith Jackson, and I got that last week.
Those are great guitars.
What's that? Oh,
those are great guitars, man.
Oh, it's smoking, man. The neck is so fast on it, and so I mean, it's like, okay, I got robbed, and I'm making the best of it. It sucks, but in the end, it's turning out okay, right? So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I lost a couple of guitars too a couple of years ago, and I know exactly how you feel, man. It's like it's one of the worst feelings in the world to go back to your vehicle and see windows smashed in and
Yeah.
everything gone.
Yeah, this was. I mean, it was all in in our basement, and
Oh wow.
and I had like 4 guitars. I had a Les Paul, a Richie Kotzen Telecaster, my Strat, and the Warren DeMartini San Dimas Rat Bomber, and I left them out. They were on stands, right? Like I have a 4 stand, right? So I had them on there, and they took them. And the worst part about it is they didn't even take the cases.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's
They
kind
just
of
walked out
yeah.
with guitars.
Yeah, it's disgusting just to think that these amazing guitars are like, they don't care. They're just a bunch of thieves, and they're just going to take them. They don't care if they're even in a case.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like to you and I, that's just like, you're just like, what, really? So
Yeah, they're just thinking I can sell this.
Yeah.
I can make $50 off of this.
yeah, which is crazy. Anyways, I mean, it all turned out okay. So I wanted to discuss actually how you came to be the guitarist in Black and Blue.
That's a good question. I had met Patrick a couple of times before I was asked to be in the band. But our old guitarist Sean Sunshine, he and I met at one of my Guns N' Roses tribute shows in Portland, Oregon. My Guns N' Roses tribute band is it's a very popular group. You know, we usually sell out the venues that we play here, and just have done a really good job at like marketing that group as much as we can. You know, like of course we're using the Guns N' Roses name, so it makes it a little easier. But we still got to play the stuff, which is pretty hard to accurately pre-produce it, because you can't just play perfect and make it sound like Guns N' Roses. You have to play kind of sloppy, and you have to be a rock and roll band, and you have to really, really, really be a rock and roll band, not just like, oh, we're pretending to be a rock and roll band. You got to know how to do this. And so Sean picked up on that when he saw me playing. He's like, because he was having I think something was going on with him, marital issues or something, and he's like, he was thinking of leaving the group, and he thought that I'd be the guy that could replace him. And so we talked after the show that night, and he's like, man, he told me what I just told you. I was like, I might not be able to be in Black and Blue much longer. I might be stepping away. And then right around that time, maybe 6 months or a year, I can't remember how long it was, but Whoop, our original guitarist, Jeff Whoop Warner, he left the group on his own choice. And like, I think he had some health issues that he needed to tend to. And so Sean ended up staying in the group because he was asked to, hey man, just stick it out and we'll do, we'll get a new guitar player. And a couple other guys I think got tried out before me. And then when they didn't work out for whatever reason, I was asked to come audition for the group. So I was doing my typical, like, take a gig, get it done, in as little amount as possible, and play my butt off, and then go on to the next gig. That's what I normally, that's how, I don't know, I think that's how you stay working as a musician. And I had this Iron Maiden gig coming up, and I remember I was walking through the grocery store talking to Pat on the phone, getting a drink for my rehearsal that day. And I'm like, hey man, if you want to really see what I can do, just come out and watch me play Iron Maiden this weekend. I have, we're doing like, most of Power Slave we actually did that night. We did Power Slave the song, we did Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. I was like, if you want to see how good I can play, we're playing all these things, so I think you'll be impressed. And if you don't like my playing from there, just, that's okay, I understand. And they were very interested after that show, and Patrick called me Monday, and he's all right, I like your playing. Learn these 5 songs and come prepared on Wednesday. it was really fast because
Wow.
he wanted to see how fast I could get prepared. Because our very first gig was mid-October. I guess it was the Rock and Skull in 2013.
Okay.
Which was it? The Skull Fest? Where was that at? Was that
Skull Fest? Rock and Skull was in Illinois.
Okay, this one was in Nebraska.
Okay, so
it's Skull Fest in Nebraska was my first show, and my second show was at the Whiskey, actually.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. Sold out show at the Whiskey, I think. But the first show was only 6 weeks to get prepared, and they wanted to see how fast I could learn tunes, so they gave me, Hold On to 18, Kiss of Death, Nasty Nasty, School of Hard Knocks, and I'm the King. And that's a lot of fast shit right out of the gate to learn. And I was like, all right, man, this is what you want me to learn, I'll do it. So I learned as much as I could before I got there, because I only had a day and a half, really, to do it. And
wow.
I think they were really impressed with how fast I was learning. And I've had a couple of experiences that really got me up to speed on how to learn music really fast. I kind of did. I auditioned for Marty Friedman's band in 2003, and I made a deal with him that's like, hey man, if I don't get into your band, if you're not ready with my playing, I'll just chalk it up as lessons. So I'll kind of, I'll just kind of be your guitar bitch for a while while you find out who you want. And so I got several opportunities to play with Marty Friedman, and he just kicked my butt all over the street, teaching me how to play with a metronome and get prepared to, play in a professional setting. And so when I brought that skill set to playing with Black and Blue, I think they were really impressed with how fast and how accurate I could learn songs, and just how flexible I would be when, hey, that part doesn't go this way, do this. And okay, yeah, whatever, got it.
Yeah.
And I think my contribution to the band became pretty high level at pretty quickly, because when I noticed that Pete Holmes played with a click track, I was like, oh dude, Pete plays with a click, why don't you just get the tempos from him and we'll play with a click track in rehearsal. And all of a sudden Black and Blue is like, we used to be, I used to be a little bit looser, and now Black and Blue is like album tight every gig.
Yeah.
And we really, I'm not to say that's all me. The band itself is very good as players. Sean's a great guitar player, and Patrick's a really amazing bass player. So getting to play with those guys was really a step up for me, and I took it very seriously from the beginning. It's like, okay, on my first gig, Michael Sweet and Oz Fox are standing in the hallway talking to my guitar player. So this is the level right here. MTV is in my face.
Yeah.
So I better be ready for this shit. And, then we're going to do gigs with Rat. And then we're going to do, at some point down the road, we're going to be on the Monsters of Rock cruise. And look at who's on the Monsters of Rock cruise. And you see, Red Beach. And you see, Sebastian Bach. And you see, all these guys. So without further ado, I just say, right from the get-go, it was a huge increase in trajectory of seriousness of getting ready for live playing.
Yeah,
it affected me very deeply.
That is amazing.
That's kind of how I got into Black and Blue.
Wow, that's pretty cool though, man. Just to hear how you explain it, just you took it so like saying, oh, there's Michael Sweet and Oz Fox, that would be pretty cool. And that you took it so, you took it to the next level, to the point where you're like, I gotta be on my game.
Absolutely. I mean, I've always been kind of that way. Once I met Marty Friedman, he was like, if you want to have these kind of, he basically just said, if you want to be ready for these types of gigs, you have to be studio ready the day of the audition.
Right.
It's the best advice I ever got. Studio ready the day of audition. And I go, well, why? And he goes, well, you don't get 6 months of rehearsal with most bands. They hire you because somebody got fired. And you're either going on tour the next day or going to the studio.
So true.
So if you want to gig with my band, you have to be studio tight, because that's how tight I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. That makes sense. Now I understand why you're annoyed with me, because I'm not ready.
But
He wasn't really. He was just teaching me.
yeah,
He gave me an opportunity to learn from him, and he took the teaching part of it very seriously, and I took the learning part of it very seriously too. And because of that, I had an opportunity to play with Metallica. I won this contest because I just practiced the way Marty told me to practice.
wow.
And then right after that, because I did that Metallica thing, I got a chance to play with Chris Caffrey from Sabotage at the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And I got that gig because I just practiced the way Marty told me to practice.
Wow.
And I didn't really have much touring experience at the time, so like I said, the trajectory was changed very quickly, working with guys like that. So my actual practical touring experience wasn't very strong, so they could tell I wasn't really ready. I was a little too green.
Mm-hmm.
I could play, I could really play, but like there's a certain amount of experience of traveling and all that stuff you have to have when you're getting ready to go touring.
Right.
Otherwise, there's an emotional part of touring that you have to under control before you get out on the road, and it just gets a little bit weird. The touring it's hard. And those guys were all veterans. The Chris Caffrey band everybody in the band was veterans. It was Chris Caffrey, Jeff Plate, my buddy Paul LaPlaca, and who the summer before, I think it was the summer before we worked together, he had been on tour with ZO2, opening for Poison and Kiss. So he had been out there playing keyboards and teching and all this stuff for all these guys. And so everybody else in the band had a extensive touring resume, and I was like the greenhorn.
Wow.
But then I did, before I joined Black and Blue, I did 8 years with my Guns N' Roses band. And we toured all over the Northwest and played Sturgis and, got some really, really hardcore stage show. We have a pretty intense stage show. We build all our cabinets, build a drum riser, and do it all ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
One tech guy when he's available, and then, just play 3.5 hour. We used to play 3.5 hour Guns N' Roses sets, just like Guns N' Roses.
Wow. So did you do you guys do straight sets, or do you do straight through, or do you do 3 sets?
We did the entire night straight through.
Wow.
Yeah, and so by the time I got to Black and Blue and we're playing 30-minute sets on festivals or whatever, 40-minute sets on festivals, I had tons of. I have to play Slash. Slash is a pillar to post running, and those guys run all over the place. So to look and act like those guys and have that kind of stamina on stage was easy for me. When I got to Black and Blue, it was like, oh yeah, of course I'm going to play on a giant stage and run from that part to that part over there and then drop and play a solo. It'll be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, well, I did a tribute thing too. For 8 years, I played Richie in a Bon Jovi tribute.
Nice, man. That's a tough gig right there.
Yeah, and so that was, so I can totally relate to that, and I think there's some musicians that don't understand that. You get that thing. Well, you're in a tribute band, so it doesn't. Sure. Why aren't you doing your own music? It's like, well, A, I enjoy doing it, and B, the crowds are there, and people come out and see you, and they love it. Right. So. And we did some small things, and we did some fly out dates and stuff like that. So I can totally relate what you're saying. It was a blast, and hopefully in the future I will get back into that again, and I may do it again. That's kind of what I'm working towards. So
yeah, no, tributes are a really great way to continue playing, and for me it was I had to look at it scientifically, okay, well, how do I get to, not being a greenhorn with a band like the Chris Caffrey band, because those guys are all phenomenal. Yeah. I was playing at their level, but I didn't have. That's like 1/4 of what you need to be a touring musician. Right. That's at the most. It's at the most 1/4 of what you need. You have to be it's probably 10%. Everything else is business savvy, social skills. your home life taken care of in a way that's like can be managed while you're gone, financially stable, you know, so that you have income while you're gone, all that stuff. You know, you have to have so many things dialed in, and getting into a tribute band gave me the opportunity to learn how to do that.
Right.
Because the guys all had the same goals as me, and it also like, okay, these guys want to play at an international level. You know, these guys, the Guns N' Roses guys that I play with, they want to play at a national or international level. They don't want to like be a local band. They want to, and it's like, okay, so our goals are aligned, you know, and our playing abilities are aligned. Now we have to like rise up, you know, and we started off as a $500 band, and you know, we get 10 or 15 grand sometimes doing what we do now. So we built ourselves up to this place where we, you know, we're pretty known around the country as one of the best Guns N' Roses tribute bands in the world. So
that's amazing.
It's we started telling everybody that at first. We were like, we're the best Guns N' Roses tribute band on the planet. Because then you have to do it, you know. It's like if you tell people that, you have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, "Oh yeah, really? You're the best Guns N' Roses tribute on the planet." That's like being the king of whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like that's like being the king of tadpoles or something. Oh yeah, really? Yeah. Okay. Well, here's what we sound like. Check this out, and people would be like, "Oh my god," you know, they'd be blown away because we didn't hold back. We're like, we're gonna be the best in the world, and we gave it everything we had: looks, sounds, playing ability, everything.
Right.
And we were also nice, and we didn't like, you know, show up 2 hours late to the gig either. So,
right. So the Axl doesn't have an attitude then.
No, oh, he has an attitude, but it's a better attitude. You know, to be a frontman like that, to be a frontman in any, you know, you have to have like a strong, you know, kind of pig-headed attitude. You know, like you do have to be that way.
Right.
You know, musicians have to be that way because you're facing, you know, if you want to play at that level, you're facing potentially 10,000 people a night.
Yeah.
And you know, if you can't, if you're not a little bit pig-headed, you know, as a musician, you're not going to be able to like really strongly go at that kind of an audience. You're gonna be a doubting violet, and you know, stand in the corner crying because you don't know how to deal with 10,000 people staring at you.
Yeah, that's right.
And I say that because recently I played at M3 and there was like 8,000 or 10,000 people playing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even nervous. I was just like, 10,000 people, nice.
Yeah, I was there, and I was there that night. Saw you guys. It was awesome, man. It was so good. It was different, like because I had seen you guys at Rock and Skull, and the stage was smaller, and it was really loud in that venue. And then seeing you guys on the M3, the bigger stage, I think that was just better. Just you guys were where you belong, where Black and Blue should be, is on that bigger stage. You know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate you saying that, you know, because I believe that too. No, really though, I mean, like these guys, the pedigree for Black and Blues, you know, they opened for Kiss. All of their touring, literally almost all of their touring they did in the 80s was playing in arenas.
Yeah.
They were opening for major bands like Aerosmith, Kiss, Ted Nugent, Guns N' Roses. I think they started as direct support for, maybe it was Ted, and Guns N' Roses was opening. So
wow.
Like they walked that walk.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was their first tour. One of their first American tours, one of their first couple was like, they had Aerosmith was their headliner, and St. James was telling me like he had his first real emotional like breakdown because he walked, and it's because he had met one of his dreams. Yeah. He walked into where he was supposed to go on stage, and it was a mat that said Steven Tyler stands here.
Whoa.
And he was just like, this is where I'm meant to be. This is what I meant to do. And so yeah, like we definitely thrive on a bigger stage. I like playing small venues. I like seeing people right up close and sweaty and do that whole thing. I can live there, but I definitely feel more at home on a big stage.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's something about it. I mean, that night was amazing because you guys played, and I believe Enough's Enough with Chips Enough on vocals played, and then Kicks.
Oh, yeah.
That Friday night was killer. It was just so, it was like Black and Blue and then Kicks, and it's like all these songs I grew up listening to, and I loved it. It was just, it was a good night. And then, the other 2 nights, the other 2 days were amazing too. It's just Friday night was kind of cool because, I mean, Kicks being local and them playing, you know, like you see everybody in that audience, they all know the words to all their songs. It was just like, wow, this is probably the only place on the planet that everybody knows every Kicks song.
Yeah, right, exactly. And they play it every year. It was weird for me to be going on after. I mean, like, because me, I didn't get to be on MTV and stuff like that, you know. But to have Kip Winger and like Enough's Enough kind of opening for my band.
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe Jamie and Pat, they kind of got it. And Jimmy DeAnda played drums, so like they're all been on MTV, you know, many times. And I'm just like replacement guitar player guy, and I'm thinking to myself, I just played direct support to Kicks after Kip Winger and Chips Enough. This is amazing.
Yeah, I would feel the exact same way. I'd probably have to pinch myself to say, like, did that really just happen?
Yeah, I was. I went out and partied my ass off that night. It was so great.
Yeah, it was a good after party too. I think I was there till about 3:00 in the morning.
Did you see me and Tori and Jamie and Jimmy and Pat playing Kiss and at the after party?
I did. I did see that.
Yeah, I think we were all a little bit tipsy.
Yeah, but I think we all were, so it didn't matter. I mean, I was in the bar for a little bit, and then we made our way down there. I missed Tora Tora. Apparently, they came off the plane and then jumped on the stage, but I'm not sure when that was. Like, I don't know if that was after you guys or before you guys. I had quite a few beers at that point too, so I didn't remember a whole lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had quite a few, and I was really enjoying it because it was so like the set we played was really exciting, and I love Pete Holmes. Pete Holmes is one of my heroes of all time. You know, getting to play with him is just ridiculous, and then I got to play with somebody who was like laterally another person that I really am influenced by is Jimmy DeAnda.
Yeah.
So, like he was one of the first. Pete really taught me a lot about how to play in bands like this. He one night in I think it was Oklahoma, he sat me down and he was like, "Okay, here's what you're not getting," and taught me a whole 2 hours. We just sat talking about how to play in the pocket and be a rhythm section. And I was like, "Oh, okay," and I've been working on that ever since. So then when I get to play with, somebody like Jimmy DeAnda, it's like now I get to be like peers with these guys and feel like I'm supposed to be playing with guys like Pete and Jimmy, and it was a really exciting experience for me that night.
That would be so cool because I love Bullet Boys. So I mean, Mick actually just came on. Mick Swayde just came on the show a couple weeks ago. I haven't finished it yet. I've still got to post it, but Mick's awesome.
Mick is one of the nicest dudes I've met in this business.
Yeah,
he is so cool. Me and him and Jimmy and a couple of friends of ours had dinner on the last Monsters of Rock cruise, and me and Jimmy and him were talking, and everybody was just kind of running around the table, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you," and he's like, "No, finish what you were saying." And I'm like, "Oh shit, Mick Swayde just told me to finish my sentence."
Yeah, Mick.
He didn't just keep talking over me or whatever. He was like, "Really, I want to hear what you have to say." And I'm like, "That's really weird." Okay.
Yeah, Mick's.
I'm okay with this.
I've interviewed him a couple times. He's always awesome, and he's always accommodating. I'll message him and I'll be like, "Hey Mick, I got this podcast thing. You want to come on the show?" And he's like, "Sure, man. When?" And he's always awesome. And
Agreed.
It was hard this time to do that interview because we had touched on so much the last time that I didn't want to talk about the same things.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Why do the same thing twice? I mean, before it was a written interview, this time it's a podcast, but I'm not going to do that. It's like people already read that, so, you know, so. But it was still good. We talked about the reunion and everything, which was more or less why I wanted to touch base with them, because I wanted to hear about that, because I just think that is so cool that they finally figured it all out, right?
Yeah, I hope they come to Portland, because I really want to see those guys play.
Yeah, yeah, to hear those songs live, because I never got to see. I've never seen them.
Last year on the cruise, I got to see both versions of Bullet Boys. Because it was like the original guys with Andy, and they crushed. It was so good. And then I got to see the all replacement guys with Mark.
With Mark, yeah.
And they crushed. I was totally blown away. I'm like, how can both of these bands be playing at this level? You know, they've got to work something out.
I know, it's crazy. I've seen Mark's Bullet Boys. Like, I saw them at. In Lima, Ohio, and then they came to Toronto, and they were good. They were awesome. I mean, they killed it. But to see those four guys, I'm just totally stoked to see that. It's like Bang Tango being back together again. Like, I'm pretty excited to see that too. You know, like to see these guys finally, like all the original members, is cool. So
that is really cool for me too. Like Bang Tango was one of my favorite bands back in the day. I love that song, the Someone Like You.
Someone Like You.
That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, me
but
too.
Like it's a bittersweet for me, because I'm friends. Like, one of my first people I really resonated with in this world was Timmy Russell, who played drums with those guys.
Oh.
And he was super cool to me right out of the gate. Him and Lance both were cool to me. We got shit-faced at Skullfest in Nebraska.
Nice.
And it was really fun hanging out with those guys, because they were just like your brother, you know. And right away, they were super cool to me. So
yeah,
it's bittersweet to see another bunch of people. Because to me, those guys, like, they were in the band like a really long time. Timmy's been around since mid 2000s. Like, that's like 15 years, longer than that band was functioning as an original lineup.
Yeah, exactly. Because the original lineup was only like a 5-6 year period, I think. Like, I can't even remember how long it was. I mean, the last album wasn't even released in North America, so the one after, I think it's Love It to Death or something, or Love. I can't remember the name of it, but it was different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you kind of feel bad for those guys, because they kind of lost their gig, and it was a good gig, but the fans also want to see the original 5 guys in Bang Tango, because it's been forever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've always, that's for me, like, all my era, most of my era was like, I saw replacement guys come in. Like, example, Kiss on Makeup. That was my Kiss.
Yeah.
Kiss with Makeup was not my Kiss. So when people
Me
complain
too.
about Ace and Peter not being in the band, I'm just like, okay, you know, well, I like Bruce and Eric Carr. You know, they're my people. You know, that's who First Crazy Nights was my first Kiss record. And then, like, you know, Sammy Hagar, everyone hates Sammy Hagar being in Van Halen. I'm like, well, the first Van Halen song I ever heard after Jump was Dreams.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think it's funny, though. I think musicians kind of gravitate towards Sammy Hagar more than Dave Lee Roth for some reason. Like,
yeah, he's such a technician vocally. I mean,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. There was the Best of Both Worlds, man. The vocals on that are so ridiculous. I mean, it's clearly out of my range, but like, I had to do that at a jam for Izzy Presley on the Monsters Rock cruise.
Yeah.
And Izzy always picks these great tunes, and he's like, Best of Both Worlds, can you do it? I'm like, yes, I can. Who's gonna sing it? And he was like, we're working on that.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, that was such a killer album, though. 5150, like, so many good songs on it. I mean, I remember the first song I heard on that was Why Can't This Be Love? And I was just like, what is this? This is just so cool. You know, like, that intro where, like, it's that thumping part that comes in and then into the riff.
Which one has that vocal part that goes da 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 da
That's what.
da?
Yeah. Why can't this be? I think that's it.
Perfect example of great vocal arrangement. What an amazing
Yeah, and the guitar line falls.
statement.
Is that the one where is that the? If that is the one, because that guitar line follows that vocal where he's doing that. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Right? Yeah, that's why can't this be love? Which is it was just such a cool thing, and people were mad because Dave's gone, but to me, Van Halen took it to the next level.
Yeah, I mean they couldn't. Unfortunately, Dave couldn't have taken it to that level because he's not that kind of entertainer.
That's right.
I mean, he's when people talk about like Van Halen now or like Dave doing what he's doing, I kind of get why people are complaining about him, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, the guy's an entertainer. Yeah. He's doing what he's always done as Dave. Yeah. His voice is a little bit more tired than it used to be. He just can't do it as well.
I think you have to take it for what it is.
Exactly.
Just if you're going into it, know that it's not going to be Dave Lee Roth from 1984. It's going to be Dave Lee Roth over 30 years later, and just take it for what it is, right?
Yeah. Let's see. How old is he now? Is he like in his 60s?
Must be. He'd have to be. Yeah. I think. I mean, I'm not sure how old he is. I think it was Eddie's birthday recently too.
I think it's Sammy. Sammy's like 70, and he's still killing it.
I know, it's crazy. He's going on tour with Whitesnake and Sammy Hagar, Night Ranger, and Whitesnake.
Yeah,
like that's gonna be killer.
I'm definitely going to that, man.
Me too. There's a Detroit date. There's no Canadian date, but there's a Detroit date which is 4 hours, and then there's a Niagara Falls, New York date, and I actually might do both of those because I love Whitesnake and I love Sammy and I love Night Ranger. So, you can't really go wrong with that bill, right?
Yeah, no, you got, like, how many hits do those guys have? Like, just between those three bands, it's like probably 30 top 10 hits.
Yeah.
Easily.
I've only seen Night Ranger once, and it was on my honeymoon. And we stayed in New York City, and we went to Coney Island to see Night Ranger, the Romantics, and Rick Springfield.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It was cool. And it was like an outdoor venue, like an amphitheater, right close to the beach, like close to the water. It was kick-ass. It was really awesome.
Isn't Mike Skill the lead singer of the Romantics?
I'm not sure. Is that his name?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Okay.
I think the lead singer of that band lives in Portland. Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I'm thinking of.
That's cool.
Yeah, he lives in Portland. He plays shows around here and stuff. Okay. Anyway.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So growing up, were you a Black and Blue fan growing up?
I actually didn't know their music just because as I was getting into music, they were breaking up and moving on to different stuff. I saw one of the first advertisements I remember from Circus Magazine was Black and Blue and House of Lords. It was a split page advertisement, and it was from Simmons Records, and I was like, wow, wouldn't it be so cool to be on a label with Gene Simmons? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anybody that would like be able to do that, they must be in heaven,
No kidding. No kidding.
And it turns out, they were. I mean, like Tommy Thayer got to play with Kiss, and like James St. James, played let's see, what was it? He
was a drummer in Cold Gin, right? Is that what you're alluding to? He was
exactly.
a drummer.
He was a drummer. But he also, like, I think, like, Gene came to his wedding or something. It was, like, crazy.
Whoa, that's crazy, man.
Really hung out, like, during the 90s because Tommy and Jamie were best friends. And it just blows me away, some of the experiences they had. So I knew of Black and Blue early on, but I didn't get their record just because, I was, 12 and I didn't get a whole bunch of records at the time. I just got my favorites, and my first favorite album of my own. Kiss Crazy Nights was one of them, but like my first absolute favorite record of all time was Peace Selfish is Buying by Megadeth. And so I jumped to the real heavy stuff right away. Black and Blue is
That is heavy.
I had never even heard them, at the point that I'd heard Megadeth. So I kind of went insane for Megadeth for about 5 years. And the first time I actually heard Black and Blue, was the very first time I ever heard a song by them was I got to be Tommy Thayer's guitar tech at the Oregon Music Hall of Fame. And my friend Tom Holland and my other friend Kevin Rankin, they kind of like, I had been playing in Tommy's brother's band, John Thayer, and he has his own band, and I was playing in his band, and those two guys, they were like, hey, do you want to be guitar tech for Tommy? He's coming to do the Oregon Music Hall of Fame thing. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And so because I got to do that, I was setting up Tommy's guitar amp and getting his tone right and everything, and following his specs that his guitar tech had sent me. And so I just kind of played the opening riff of Riff Raff by AC/DC.
Yeah.
And that was like fishing in a barrel, because everybody in the band jumped on that and started playing that song with me. They played Riff Raff with me, and I was just like, whoa! It just like slapped into gear. It was unbelievable how tight they were playing that song, and I'm just like, wow, what a great band.
That is awesome. That's great.
I really respected them and their playing ability. And that was the first time I played with Black and Blue. It was 2010. And then 3 years later, I get the gig. It's kind of a weird coincidence.
That is, but that's still cool. I'm just thinking back to when the first Black and Blue I ever heard was I was young, and someone had a compilation tape, and Hold On to 18 was on it. And I was like,
oh yeah,
I freaking love this song. But in Canada, it was really, and I've said this a million times, it was so hard to get certain albums here. It's like, yeah, you'd get your Poison, and you'd get, like the Motley Crue stuff, and then sometimes you'd get like a smaller band, but sometimes it was really hard to find stuff. So there were certain bands for me that were, if somebody had it, I would be like, you have that? I can't believe it. Like Black and Blue was one of them, Y&T, Keel, like just all those bands. So sometimes that stuff was really hard for us to get, and I think I got that vinyl copy of In Heat in a delete bin for like $3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this was after the fact. The album's legs were already, it was like 2 years later, and they were trying to get rid of the copies, right?
Sure.
But it was just, up here it was kind of hard to get that stuff. And of course, Much Music might play it, might not. It all depended. It wasn't like on MTV where there was like more heavy rotation.
Yeah.
And then
it's funny, like In Heat is actually one of my favorites of all the records. It's got a lot of aggressive songs on it.
It does.
Good stuff.
The songwriting on that, I think they really evolved. I think it flows well, but the songs are different from each other, right? And
yeah, absolutely.
I really like that album a lot. It's a toss-up for me between Without Love and In Heat, of which one's my favorite. I like Nasty Nasty, and I like the debut, but those two are probably the ones that I really love. I mean, I love Bruce Fairbairn's production on Without Love, like... And,
oh yeah,
like there's some really good stuff on it. But I think, had you asked me 5 years ago which Black and Blue album was my favorite, I'd probably say Without Love. But now I think it is In Heat.
Yeah, there's one song on there. I think it's called Great Guns of Fire. Mm-hmm. There's this middle section of the tune. It's got this rising guitar riff, and I'm playing along with it, and I'm going, this sounds exactly like Ashes in Your Mouth by Megadeth. And sure enough, I listened to Ashes in Your Mouth and checked it out, and I'm like, that is almost the same riff. I'm wondering if Dave Mustaine was influenced by Tommy Thayer in some way, because really? I know that Jamie St. James ended up singing backup vocals on one of the Megadeth records.
Really?
So I know there's some influence there, but I just don't know how much.
Wow.
I wanted to tell you a story that Jamie told me just recently about Black and Blue. He went to this rainbow party where Eddie Trump was hosting a party, and all the rock stars were out in force that night. Jamie got to run into Steven Adler, and he never met him. So he was talking to him, and he's like, "Hey man, I just want you to know I really love your drumming and your contribution to the first Guns N' Roses record. Because Jamie's a drummer, obviously.
Yeah.
He really respected Steven. And he goes, "Yeah, my name's Jamie St. James." He goes, "Jamie St. James, oh, I gotta show you something." He starts flipping through his phone super fast, right? And he holds up this picture that has the first two lines of "Hold on to 18." And he uses that as a daily affirmation.
Really?
So Steven Adler's like, "I've got one small thing that's on my mind. Am I half dead or am I doing fine?" And that's one of his daily affirmations.
That's cool, man.
I don't know if it's daily, but like he was very inspired by Jamie at some point. And Jamie called me. He's like, "Dude, I know you love Guns N' Roses, so I know you'll appreciate this story." And I totally appreciate it. It's amazing. I mean, I can only imagine if one of the most influential drummers on the planet, literally that album is the top selling debut album in record selling history. If that drummer had said that about a song I wrote, oh man, I would lose my mind. So I can totally understand Jamie being pretty excited about that.
It's funny that it's talking about that debut album. When I was, I guess in '87 when it came out, no one had really heard of the band, but I would see them in the magazines all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the magazine Blast. It was around it was around for a short time, and the pictures were really cool. The paper was a little bit thicker than Metal Edge, and it was really cool, but they were always putting like Guns N' Roses, Faster Pussycat. So anyways, I hadn't heard either band, and I got my mom to take me to the mall, and I was like, I want to go buy something. So I walk into this record store, and the girl says to me, "Can I help you with anything?" I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for a band called Guns N' Roses." She goes, "Who? I've never heard of them." She goes, "But we do have this other band that just came out. They're kind of like Aerosmith. They're called Faster Pussycat, but I've never heard of this Guns N' Roses band."
Wow.
Yeah, it was just
crazy.
Like, to this day, that story stands out in my mind, right? And then probably a month later, I went back and the other record store up. There was like 3 record stores in this mall, right? Those were the good days. And I found it, and I ended up buying Faster Pussycat, Aerosmith, and Guns N' Roses like on tape that day. But it was just so funny that it's just for this girl. I wonder if she ever thinks about it now. Like, remember when that guy came in and asked for Guns N' Roses? Like, like, who? I've never heard of them. Right? It was just, it's one of those things that stands out in your mind because they became like one of the biggest rock and roll bands, right? And Faster Pussycat, as great as they are, were not one of the biggest rock and roll bands. So,
yeah, both still working, but making drastically different number figures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love Faster. I've seen both of those bands recently, and there's something that Faster Pussycat can do to an audience. They have the ability to just make people go crazy. They really do. And they may not have as wide of audience as Guns N' Roses, but they get people. I mean, can I just be like completely honest?
Sure,
They
of
get
course.
people wanting to fuck. they get people wanting to have sex.
That is true. That's a good point.
Just watching, I mean, people just get sweaty and hot. They're just ready to roll. And you see people just in the audience going after each other. It's pretty intense to see it happen right in front of you. And but Guns N' Roses does that too, but it's hard to see that when there's 40,000 people, because they're just sitting in a chair watching this amazing rock and roll band.
Yeah, exactly. Did you ever see Guns back in the day?
I never saw them before. The first time I saw Guns was 2006 on the reunion. Well, on the Chinese it was the pre-tour of Chinese Democracy.
Okay.
They were playing Chinese Democracy songs, but they the album wasn't out yet. That's the only Guns song show I saw until the reunion.
I saw them in 1991 in Toronto. Before User Illusions were out, so it was like June. Those came out in September. Skid Row opened. Slave to the Grind had just hit number 1 that week. It had just come out. So to see Skid Row and Guns, of course Adler wasn't there, but Matt was. Izzy was still in the band, and it was just like they played for 3 fucking hours, and it was just unbelievable. It was so good, and I'll never forget that show. Like even with Matt, and like Teddy Zigzag, I believe he was there too, and Dizzy Reed was in the band, and they had the backup singers, but they played all this material that people hadn't even heard, and the crowd was still went nuts for it. It was so it just, you could tell that those albums were going to be good because the crowd was like 40,000 people still into that music, and it was amazing.
Oh yeah, it is really amazing how like they were able to maintain that peak level every time they tour.
Yeah,
how does they at that time? Still to this day they only have 4 records.
Yeah,
they have the EP, but 4 full-length records. That's it.
That's right. It's crazy to think that they can go out and play and just like everybody knows every song. It's not like, you go out and see a lot of bands and like people know the hits, but like with Guns N' Roses, they're one of those bands that people listen to those albums like from front to back, especially Appetite, and they know every song.
Yeah,
like
exactly. And you could play Anything Goes right next to Welcome to the Jungle, and they'd be like, "Yep, great tune."
Exactly. And like you'd hear Rocket Queen, and it's like you got to hear that song because it's so amazing, right? And it's just from front to back that album's so special and so amazing. And
I love playing that song. The Rocket Queen's one of my favorite ones to play because it's got everything I like to do playing guitar. It's got great guitar solos, insane rhythm tracks, just really cool rhythm guitar parts. And then it's got slide and clean, everything. And each part is meticulously written in a way that's memorable and absolutely imperative. If you improvised around it or play it, it's not the song. That's one of the reasons I like Guns N' Roses that much, is because whatever part they're playing is so much intention. It has to be there. And if you don't play it, people, there's things that you can improvise. But if you don't improvise the way Slash does it, you don't sound like Slash.
That's right.
Yeah. It's a weird phenomenon. Like he's one of the only guys that like every song you play, it's got signature all over it. So rare.
It is rare. It's like because a lot of guys, a lot of 80s guitar players, for instance, it's like, they have a certain style. Like George Lynch has a certain style. And there's certain things he does, but with Slash, it's like above that. It's just, as soon as you hear him, it's him. There's just something about his playing, right?
Exactly. Yeah, George, like his leads are that way.
His leads are that way for sure, yeah.
His riffs aren't always as like, I can tell when it's a George riff, but that's because I'm a connoisseur of rock guitar.
That's right.
But like, I don't think that non-guitar fans could, say, "Oh, George wrote that,"
Yeah.
Whereas like Slash, if he wrote the riff, it's like that's definitely not an Izzy riff.
No, exactly.
Slash totally wrote that.
With George, it's like the thing that I like about George is, it's stylistically how he solos, but also like his rhythm parts too. There's like a, I don't even know how to put it. There's just a little bit extra on his, especially on the earlier Doc and stuff and the Lynch Mob stuff. Just the way he'll like kind of bend a chord or like just give it a little bit more. It's not like just playing a bunch of chords. There's an identity to it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like on It's Not Love. That's totally got that what you're talking about on it.
That's right.
Real sassy. Yeah, totally. I totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he's, I love his soloing, but he's actually one of my favorite, like, '80s rhythm type of players. I mean, and I mean, I love Warren DeMartini too, because his style is, and as he went on, his style got a lot different too. It was just, it's kind of, his style to me is kind of unorthodox at times. It's like the way he solos, right? It's almost off time. It's like, sometimes it's really bizarre.
Yeah, I agree. Like Lay It Down. The solo in that is a little bit off.
Yeah.
It's really just kind of rhythmic and quirky.
Yeah.
But it's still melodic and interesting to listen to. I love Warren DeMartini. Great guitarist.
Oh, amazing. And I am going to say this on here. He should be in Rat, but that's not up to me. And sorry to Pete Holmes.
Oh, no worries, man. Well, I think Pete's got his gig sewn up. I mean, like, I don't think Blotz is coming back anytime soon.
No.
It's too, everybody I'm sure would like to see the original lineup. And I love Warren DeMartini, but I'm really happy for my friend Jordan Ziff. He has a killer player.
Yeah.
And the other guitarist in the band is another friend of mine named Chris Sanders. I actually known Chris for since before he moved to LA. We were buds and we jammed a couple times, and I was just like, "What are you doing when you're down there?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm playing with World War III." And I'm like, "Isn't that Mandy Lyons band?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm playing with those guys." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool, dude."
That's cool.
And he's like, "I just played the Playboy Mansion."
No way.
And so Chris has been around for a really long time. Jordan is just a phenom. The guy is an unbelievable guitarist, and
so it's worth going to check out then, because I was skeptical. I'm like, it's hard for me because it's not Warren, and I'm so used to Warren, and throughout everything, Warren's always been there, right?
Yeah, I mean, Warren's been the one. He was the one mainstay in the group. I mean, even when Steven Tyler was gone, or Stephen Pearcy was gone, he was always there. And I think he just got tired. I think he doesn't need to tour because he's well off, and I think he just doesn't need to do that thing. And he was like, "Well, I'm not. It's my band, so you guys can't run off without me. So no." And they went, "Sorry."
Yeah,
or something like that. I don't know what really happened, but there's been rumors about that. I've heard that in interviews and stuff like that.
Rat's kind of a weird situation, because you had Blotzer and DeMartini going on with it for years, and then Juan and Steven came back, and then all of a sudden they've got the band now. So it's one of those really strange situations, right?
Yeah, if it's anything like the Queensryche situation, where those guys have to pay back Jeff Tate, it's probably something like that, where they have to work to pay out the guys that used to own business, because they were like LLC and all that stuff. So I'm sure that there's some sort of if the judge made a settlement, I'm sure it was like, well, you can fire them, but you have to pay them because they're part of the LLC. So that gets complicated. I've talked to many people about these kinds of businesses in and out of the music business, and it's like, no, they're a part owner, so you have to pay them.
Wow.
And it's like, all right, well, it's not just as simple as firing these guys. Anybody that's got to go through business turmoil, I empathize with them, because it's hard. I mean, these people used to be brothers, and now they're just business partners. It's like getting divorced.
Yeah, it takes away from the objective of starting the band in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly, which was to make great music. But once millions of dollars gets injected, it's not. You have to be a different kind of friend, because you're millions of dollars changes people. $10,000 will change people.
Yeah, that's true. So true.
$300 will change people. It's like, well, we fought for that. We fought for that $300, and I want my share. Well, I got to pay the T-shirt guy back, but really the guy pockets the $300 or something because he needs drugs. You can better believe the four of the guys in that band are fucking pissed. And now if somebody's doing that with $10 million,
that's crazy.
I don't know who's had that craziness happen, but that's the kind of thing that people don't really understand, and like fans of music, they don't understand that like when $1 million gets injected into things, it changes people. It toxifies your mind. Your mind says like greed is such a it's such a pervasive thing in our culture, and and it's hard to. No one ever thinks that they're going to be the greedy one,
Until it happens.
Until they're just like, no, that's my money. And then someone goes, no, that's my money.
Yeah.
And, well, I wrote the song, so it's my money. But you didn't write the lyrics. You just said you did when we wrote the record. And you put it on the publishing without telling anybody. So you got credit and the money, but I actually wrote those lyrics. Well, sorry. That was 10 years ago. What are you going to do about it? Do you want to keep making money? Do you want to keep making money on the road, or?
Yeah, and that's the sick part of the business too, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at a band like Guns N' Roses or Motley. In the beginning, they went from nothing to having money eventually, right?
Oh yeah.
Just using them as an example, right?
Guns N' Roses, Motley. Oh yeah. I mean, they were basically just punk street kids.
Yeah.
Especially Nikki Sixx, man. I mean, his story is like he left home when he was 14 or something because his family was abusive and crazy, and then he goes from that to multi-millionaire stardom.
Yeah. And what are you going to do with that? And how are you going to? And then then you compound the pressure that's on him too, to sustain being one of the biggest bands, hard rock, heavy metal bands in the 80s, to sustain album after album and keep writing songs. And then you factor in the fact that he's a junkie, and he's still got to do that. And like, man, people don't realize that.
In a way, I'm thankful that I didn't have to have that kind of pressure on me when I was younger. I mean, I'm not well off now, but like I'm comfortable, and I raise my daughter and I do that thing.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that I have like a much stronger, smarter head than I did when I was 18. So if I come across that kind of financial opportunity, I most likely won't have that toxified mind around it. I have a very strong support system around me that, they're like, they know finance, and they know how to like go, hey, look, you got this money now, but you won't have it in 2 years unless you do this.
Right.
Like, oh man, I better go talk to a financial advisor.
Yep.
Or, get a business manager in the music biz or whatever. Somebody that can help you with investments, somebody that can help you like maintain that money, and you don't be broke in 5 years. You can actually like sustain your family beyond your generation.
Exactly.
And that's what, I'm really thankful for that. I'm privileged enough to have those kind of friends around me. So hopefully the future has good things in store financially.
That's good.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I do this, but I actually, to all the listeners out there, I actually have a full-time job.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have a good job though, which is good for me because I can still do the things that I love to do. I mean, I'm passionate about music and I'm passionate about all this stuff, but I also have a way to sustain and pay my bills. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, and me too. Like that's where I'm going to. Like I teach and do other sort of things to make sure that money's on the table.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes from playing live music and recording albums and stuff like that. I'm currently working on a couple of different projects, and not all of them are paying, but like some part of it, I'm more of a time investor and making the project go.
Yeah. So
that I get a percentage when we get financial income, and one of the newest projects I'm working on, obviously the Loyal Order, that album's going to be coming out pretty soon. We're working on some projects to get that out to the masses.
Awesome.
So keep your eyes peeled for the Loyal Order on loyalorder.com and Loyal Order on Facebook and Instagram. And then I'm also working on an album with my friend Sarah Moon, who is an amazing singer out of Portland, Oregon. And she and I co-write songs. We've been co-writing songs for about 5 years now, and we recorded one on her last record. It was a ballad that we co-wrote together, acoustic ballad, and we're writing more of a rock record this time, and it's turning out really great. And I did a record a couple of years ago with this guy, and it was called Metamorphosis, and he's probably going to be producing it. His name's Andy Korn, and it's a good little team over there. We got Sammy Durr, or sorry, not Sam, Jamie Durr, who works with Sammy Hagar. Cool. He's Sammy Hagar's main engineer. He made the last Chickenfoot record, and he and I have worked on several projects with Andy, and it's a really great team of making solid rock and roll songs. And Sarah is just like, when we were writing the songs together and we were talking about who to use, I was like, maybe we should talk to Andy, see what he has to say. You know, we haven't finalized everything on that yet, but we're working towards our pre-production. Like, we were doing preparation for our pre-production today, and
wow,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
making records. Don't let anybody ever tell you that people who make amazing records that sell millions of dollars don't deserve it, because
that's true.
What you have to do, that you pay out to make amazing records, the whatever it is that you have to do on the front end of it, the investment that it costs, the investment of your life, investment of your heart and soul and your mind, your own intellectual property. People say intellectual property, people shouldn't own it, and I'm against that. Because intellectual property, if you come up with an idea that's nobody else's, there's people that have stolen things, and that's why there's courts of law.
Yeah, that's true.
But, when you come up with an amazing idea and lots and lots and lots and lots of people want it, you should be compensated for it.
I agree. I totally agree.
So,
you shouldn't be ripped off for your abilities and what you put in. And,
yeah.
I mean,
just go ahead.
Yeah, you hear stories. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I to get some of the songs on this new Lawyer Order record, it's like I invested money in a very expensive Les Paul and a very expensive amplifier and pedals to make my sound the way it sounds, to get my unique sound, and then we paid an engineer to record what we said, and this guy produced us and made sure it sounded unique from the other things that we were doing, and the time and the arguing and like, no, I like this riff. No, let's gotta have this riff. That kind of like put your friendships on the line, the emotional turmoil that you go through to just get a fucking song done. And then you put a whole record of them out. It's just like, oh my God. It takes a lot of effort, and people just don't understand. They think we're just jacking off in our room having a good time, and it's it is, but just as hard as it was to get that, I don't know if it's same hard, but like to build a house, it takes professionals in a field to get that thing done, and you have to pay them to do it.
That's right.
And if that thing at the end doesn't sell, they're out everything. You know, so like, if we're at the end of our project, our house that we just built, and nobody buys anything, and they just take it for free. You can imagine somebody moving into a house that they didn't build, and they didn't pay for. That's kind of what they do with our records, It
is. That's true.
We I don't want to like start a whole war about like, Napster and all that stuff. That's a war I didn't fight, and we live in the modern world that we live in. So our new record is basically just a calling card for buying our T-shirts.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But it's still a little weird, because I grew up in the era that we all bought
music
and traded and loved music.
Yeah, I was the guy that would be like, oh, new Motley Crue, 1994. It's coming out on Tuesday. We got to go to the record store and wait in line for the doors to open so we can go buy it.
Exactly.
Now
that
it's
record's
like,
great.
What's that?
That record's great.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it's such a good album. But I mean, that's just another. I mean, there was many albums like that. I remember when the Black Album came out, Metallica, and my buddies and I, we lived in a small town, so we're like, we got to get a ride into like the bigger town because we got to go to the record store because that album's out and we don't have it yet. You know?
Yeah.
That's just
absolutely.
That's the way it was, and now it's just, I can go on the computer and I can pay nothing for it. And I know I don't want to get into a war with anybody about that either, but so getting back to Loyal Order, I checked out the video for Ready for Dead a few weeks ago. Man, I have to say that it's like a totally different sound from Black and Blue. It's like to me that was unexpected. I didn't expect it to sound like it did, and I loved it. I just think the band's amazing. Now, do you guys are signed to EMP, which is Dave Ellison's label?
Yes, we are. It's a unique situation. We're working with Tom Hazard and EMP, and we're not signed to a recording contract where they give us money and the other thing. Mm-hmm. We are signed and working with them as they are a conduit that we can access the music business. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So technically we have a record deal with them, but we are investing in a sort of a I don't know, quote unquote world domination package where it's like we're going in and we're getting our record onto the radio. So they're helping us make that happen. So our primary investor is our lead singer, and his record label, Beaner Media, is actually investing in that. And EMP's we have a distribution company called Von Artists, and EMP is our label.
That's cool.
And we're trying to create a new business model for the music biz, because for smaller bands, I mean, like, you don't get 10,000 or 20,000 or 50,000 to get your record made. Like some other bands, like with bigger names, like maybe George Lynch, he might get like a payout to make a record from Frontier or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But from what I hear, nobody gets financial until the record's done, Mm-hmm. And so we're trying to figure out how to, make our brand new record go. And it's a different world out there than it used to be. So our primary, when we're looking for other investors in our project too, like sponsors that might be willing to invest in us for other things, cool. To get us onto tours and stuff like that. Because the songs that we've written, like you said, you really liked our Ready for Dead, and I appreciate that.
That's cool.
We're looking to do more of that, mm-hmm. and we want people to see. We want people to see this band as like in a more state of the art kind of way. We're not trying to do this as a, okay, we're all in our 40s. Let's put a record up, dude. It's definitely not that. Yeah. It's been a blood, sweat, and tears kind of event for this thing, and we fought for a really long time to find the right people and the right conduits to make this happen in a business sense, and we've been doing it. And we've used every resource that we have to make this go. And it might not do anything, but I think the song.
I mean, if the rest of the album's as good as that song, I am totally. I cannot wait to hear it, man.
I think it is. I mean, I think the rest of the record is just as good as Ready for Dead.
That's awesome. I can't wait for it.
So,
like
I was telling you about Slash, how everything is like his personal touch on everything.
Yeah,
that's exactly how I approached writing guitar for this. It's like everything on my guitar tracks has to have my personal touch. If it doesn't have that, it's not good enough.
Yeah, and that's that.
Maybe.
That's kind of the old, that's the old, like we were talking about before, that whole 80s approach to guitar playing, which we don't get now. It's just like,
Yeah.
to me, it seems like a lot of newer albums. It's just like, okay, put a guitar track on something, and it doesn't sound. There's not an identity to it. Where I think in the '70s and the '80s there was identity to guitar playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they put a lot more effort into playing guitar back then. You know, there was a, you know, and I came up in the '80s, so I'm steeped in that.
Mhm.
You know, and I think that some of those guys, you know, the more modern guys, they kind of feel like maybe they don't have an identity or whatever. Maybe it's more about the band or something. Maybe more about the brand.
Mm-hmm.
But when we came up in the '80s, it was like, yeah, it's about the brand, but each person in that brand has to have.
That's right.
You know, you got to be Ringo, George, Paul, or John
That's right.
in your band.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, well, I'm going to be my Slash. Like,
Yeah.
I'm either going to be Slash or Marty Friedman, Dave Mustaine, or like James Hetfield. You know, whatever it is that I'm doing, it's got to have that Brandon Cook touch to make it sound like me.
Yeah.
Same way Tommy Thayer did with all his songs. It's like,
yeah,
that sounds like fucking Tommy Thayer,
That's
man.
true.
It doesn't sound like Ace Frehley. I mean, I can hear the influence, but it doesn't sound like Ace Frehley to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy's a cool player, man. Tommy's a very cool player. I mean, a lot of the stuff on those Black and Blue albums he's got, there's touches on there that are so cool.
Yeah, and I love Ace, and
So
I
do
don't
I.
mean to like disparage him in a way. I'm just saying like what I'm comparing is like I know that Tommy was influenced by Ace.
Yeah.
But on the Black and Blue records, he doesn't sound like Ace.
No.
So.
But he does a great job being Ace. Like.
Oh yeah, he
know,
does. I love his contribution to the modern Kiss. You know, and the part of me that wishes Ace could be in that group, you know, is huge.
Mhm.
I wish Ace could still do that. You know, I really do, because he's such an amazing artist.
Yeah.
And you know, him working with Paul and Gene, it's kind of oil and water. I guess they don't do that together very
There's
well.
just stylistically, he's another guy. There's something about Ace, like his vocals aren't the greatest thing in the world, but it's just got so much character to it. Like who?
Yeah.
Because Ace, when I hear Ace sing, he's my favorite because I love the Fraley's Comet albums, and I love Ace singing on Kiss albums, and it's because of just his approach. It's just like it always captured me. I was just like, oh, this guy's cool, man. Like there's just something about him, right?
Oh yeah, Ace. I remember hearing the first Ace shock me.
Yeah.
I was like, Ace is singing. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You know, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And then of course one of my other first records at the time, you know, I had Fraley's Comet that came out. I think I got Fraley's Comet the same year that I got Crazy Nights. Not sure, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think they're both.
I love that album.
Yeah, I do too. Love it.
Every song is just ridiculous, and you know, Todd Howarth sings like a madman on that. And John Regan is such a great bass player. Oh man!
And Anton, can't forget Anton Fig.
Yeah, just unbelievable drummer. The Ace surrounded himself with the best of the best. And,
yeah.
I wish that band was still going, but you know, lucky for my buddies in the rock and roll residency, they got the gig now.
Yeah. Yeah, which is cool.
Those guys are great.
I went there. I went to the residency 2 years ago, and I got this.
Have you seen those guys play with Ace yet?
No, I haven't, and I can't wait. Hopefully, they'll come up here, or I'll get to go down somewhere close in the States to go see them, because I would love to see that.
Dude, I haven't seen it. I've seen some video of it, and I just, you know, Phil and Jeremy and Ryan are great. They bring everything, and Matt Starr now playing drums. They had Brent Fitz for a while, but like Matt, he's actually so much better fit for that group. You know, like he just plays those Ace parts so good.
That's awesome.
I love listening to Matt play. He's such a great drummer.
That's cool. I just did an interview where the guy they interviewed, we were talking about Brent Fitz and Todd Kearns doing the Kiss thing with Kulik, and how great that was, doing all that 80s stuff with Todd Kearns singing all the Paul Stanley stuff. I don't know if you've seen that, but
Oh yeah.
it's so good.
No, I haven't.
No?
I haven't seen with Todd Kearns.
Oh man, it's so good. It is so good. And then the bass player does all the Gene stuff, right? But Todd Kearns just kills it on the Paul Stanley stuff. Just kills it, man.
Fantastic.
Anyways, Brandon, I think that's pretty much all I've got for tonight. And I mean, we talked quite extensively on quite a few topics, and I really appreciate you taking the time with me.
Hey, no problem, Tyson. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and it's kind of a different way to do like a rock and roll interview. Sometimes it's a little more business focused and like the releases, and I don't know. I've always wanted to hear like more of a Charlie Rose type interview, like in rock bands, where it's like they talk about all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And so I appreciate you kind of letting me ramble a little bit.
No, that was fun, and that's kind of what lately my getting into this stuff is trying to. I mean, it's rock talk, but it's like I think it's kind of cool to have artists talk about their influences and what they're into. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I guess I'll be look forward to chatting with you some other time soon.
Yes. Okay. All right, Brandon. Well, you have a good night, and we'll talk soon, man. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Tyson. Have a great night.
You too, man. Talk to you. Bye.
Blood was still fresh on the ground.